Hey everyone, it's Zanganeh with your spring San Diego real estate market update, and here's what you need to know. So here's what's happening locally. Closed sales are up 7%, with pending sales just up slightly. We're seeing a lot of volatility as the market kind of ebbs and flows through the rate changes. Inventory is down 11% overall in the marketplace. Kind of what this means is we're seeing a little bit more pressure on new listings coming out of the market because buyers are having a few less options than they did last year. That combination with rising demand and shrinking inventory is why the market feels a little bit more competitive right now. We're sitting at about 2.5 months of supply, which is quietly shifting us back towards a seller-leaning market, but don't go too crazy. Detached homes are really where the pressure is building. We have a median price of $1.1 million, which is up 2.4%. Inventory is down over 20%, and sales are up 5%. Homes are selling in about 37 days, and sellers are getting close to 99% of their asking, which is pretty different from last year. My take is this is already becoming a bit of a split market. Good homes getting multiple offers, wild and crazy. Everything else, it's kind of sitting, and that gap is getting wider every week. Condos are still more balanced. This is where I see a little bit more movement in prices. Sales are definitely up near 10%. Prices are still slightly down about 1%, and inventory is up slightly. This is where buyers have the most leverage, I find, and if rates stabilize, this segment ends up tightening really fast depending on what location you're looking at. Now, what's happening with mortgage rates? This is the part that most people are missing. Rates dipped right below 6% earlier this year, then they jumped back up to 6.4 to 6.6 recently, and they've been bouncing week to week due to inflation and global events going on. Even in the past few weeks, we did see rates spike all the way up to 6.7 and then settle back down in that 6.3, 6.4 range. Now, what does that translate to you guys? Buyers are dealing with uncertainty, not just the affordability issue. And that hesitation is the only thing keeping this market from moving even faster right now. Now, Sean's take here. This is actually a really important moment in the market. We've got low inventory, especially in the detached housing. Buyers are coming back and they're active and they're showing up to open houses, but rates are still kind of bouncing around, which you can tell on a micro market. If we have a low rate week, we actually see more homes go pending than a high rate week, and you got to watch that in certain neighborhoods. So this creates a window where some buyers are hesitant and other buyers jump in early, and the ones jumping in right now, they're actually getting ahead of what could be a much more competitive summer if we see rates slide back down. Here's kind of how I see it playing out. If rates stabilize or dip back down towards low sixes or even sub 6, you'll see a surge in demand very quickly. You'll get multiple offers, especially on the product under 1.5 million. If rates spike again, the market stays active but kind of uneven. More negotiations on listings, you tend to get beat up in the request for repairs. Either way, inventory is the real story and it's tight. So with the war going on and gas prices insanely high, a lot of people are asking, are we going into a recession? Well, my thoughts and most of the market's thoughts are the odds are no. If this gets resolved with the war in the Middle East, if gas prices ease back down before the summer, it's not necessarily going to cause us much real estate stress in the short term. We're seeing the stock market already bounce back recently. We're seeing a lot of good things in the market, which causes buyer confidence. I think what we see is we started to see a market with a very short-term memory. Every time something bad happens, we've seen wars, we've seen government shutdowns, we've seen all this crazy stuff happen in the last 1.5 to 2 years. And frankly, I don't think that stuff's going away. What I see is the consumer, both buyer and seller, are just kind of rolling with the punches and still got to move on with their life. And that's where I'm seeing a lot of the opportunity is people going, well, this is what it is, so still got to go. So if you're a buyer in this strategic window, not necessarily the easiest time, but potentially the smartest time. And if you're a seller, the conditions are lining up very nicely as you head into the summer. If you're looking with help to create a strategic plan on how to either buy or sell a house here in San Diego, I'd love to help you make your next smart move. Make sure you guys subscribe and follow along for more videos.